Hey again everyone, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle giving you another update here on storms moving through North Alabama. We've got one severe thunderstorm warning and really one organized storm, and that's it. That is in Franklin County in northwest Alabama. Other storms are continuing to move through parts of the greater Huntsville area. There's nothing severe out of these, but they're a little loud, producing some thunder and lightning, some heavy downpours, maybe some small hail, and some wind gusts 30, maybe up to 40 miles per hour. But these across the northern part of our coverage area, north of the Tennessee River, are not particularly well organized, and for now the severe weather threat remains somewhat subdued in this area. But it is going to be the southern extent of this big blob of rain and thunderstorms where we may continue to have a few that do potentially produce some severe weather. So let's kind of get right to it here with 31 triple Doppler. And you can see obviously what the most significant storm is, and that's the one in Franklin County. The yellow box is your severe thunderstorm warning. Tremendous amount of lightning with this one. It is certainly the most organized storm that we do have ongoing around the area. So let's talk a little bit about it first, and then we'll get into other parts of North Alabama. This one has a couple hazards right now. One is going to be the possibility for some larger hail, and also the possibility this may produce some strong wind gusts as it moves on through. Pretty well straddling as it moves across Franklin County right there, the Franklin County line, Marion, Winston County line. This is where this storm is going to be most impactful here in the short term. Let's show you a couple things that we're monitoring. The hail potential. That has now, looks like it's going to miss you folks in Russellville. So initially the storm was moving a little north of east. It's really moving more eastward now. So if you're in Russellville, it does look like the worst of the impacts are going to stay south of you. But if you're in Phil Campbell, that eastward motion is going to bring this right across the area. Again, this is a look at where the hail core is currently located, potentially up to quarter-size hail. That's a possibility. And we're also keeping an eye on the wind within this thunderstorm. At times there's been a little bit of circulation showing up. There's still some of that, but nothing that is significant enough to be concerned about a tornado threat. But what we are likely seeing are some strong winds coming in with this, kind of lined up here from just west of Phil Campbell down to near Hackleburg. So there is the possibility this may produce some damaging wind gusts on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour as it moves on through. We're not seeing a concentrated area of rotation. So again, at this point in time, tornado threat is not something that we are immediately concerned about, but rotating storms are ones that do produce large hail, which again, we are seeing a signature of that as well. So let's kind of back it up here. We'll track this out for you. Again, this is easily our most significant storm, tracking through southern Franklin County and moving into parts of Marion and Winston County in northwest Alabama. National Weather Service out of Birmingham did issue severe thunderstorm warning for their coverage area, so that's why you see the two yellow boxes here. So let's track all this out. Russellville, again, you're getting some heavy rainfall, but the worst of the wind and the hail is staying to your south. This is mostly moving east, maybe tracking just a little south of east. So this is going to bring it again through Phil Campbell here as we speak into the Haleyville area, the southern extent of this, which would be the possibility for some gusty wind for you around 536. Carroll Crossroads in that southeastern corner of Franklin County. You're not only looking at the potential for some strong wind gusts, but also that possibility for maybe up to quarter-size hail. And then this is eventually going to work its way into portions of the Bankhead National Forest as this crosses over from Franklin County, Alabama into Lawrence County. And then again, it will also continue to track through northern parts of Marion and Winston County in the northwest corner of the state. So again, this is our only significant storm at the moment, one that is potentially going to produce some severe weather as it moves on through. So if you are, and you saw the update there on the warning area, again, this is it. Obviously the strongest storm that we've got, certainly the most organized. We are continuing to watch, though, other showers and storms that, yes, are coming through the Huntsville area. Right now, the strongest of those is right along 565 on the Limestone County side of that. So as you get just past County Line Road in Madison, Limestone County, this is where that is currently located. Quite a bit of lightning around Belmina, the Mooresville area. And again, torrential rain falling along a good stretch here of 565. So as I mentioned in our earlier live, if you're waiting on someone to get home this evening, just bear in mind the weather is likely going to slow them just a little bit. Not seeing any significant concerns about rotation in this thunderstorm, but again, there is the possibility of seeing some gusty wind, maybe 30, 40 miles per hour. Not quite a severe storm, but definitely one that is packing pretty good little punch. I'll show you some live pictures. We'll take you into Decatur first. This is our Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam there in Decatur. Steady rain coming on down, nothing super heavy. We take you into Huntsville. This is going to show that 565 area. Traffic moving, but a little bit slower than normal. And as some of these heavier downpours continue to roll on through, that's likely going to slow things down. Not a ton of wind out there, barely seeing the flags moving a whole lot there at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, so at least for now, wind is not an issue in this part of the city of Huntsville, but as that storm farther back to the west along 565 moves through, that may bring some gusty wind along with it, and we'll see how that materializes over time. Back into the Muscle Shoals, Sheffield area, again, just plenty of rain out in this direction, some occasional thunder and lightning continuing to come on through. So as far as what I'm kind of anticipating how this is all going to play out is for a lot of us, this is just going to be rain and embedded thunderstorm activity. Maybe some gusty wind, 30-mile-per-hour gusts, certainly possible. Some frequent lightning, perhaps some small hail as well. And for a lot of us, that is what we will see out of this. It is going to be on this southern flank of this area of storm, starting here in Franklin County, and I'll kind of circle it. If we're going to see severe weather, I think it is going to be primarily in this zone, just based on the way things are currently unfolding and the way the atmosphere is set up. So southern parts of Lawrence County, generally south of Moulton. If you're in southern Morgan County, down into Coleman County, and maybe eventually clipping through parts of southern Marshall County, probably south of Guntersville, but towards the Douglas, Boaz area. Again, this will be a little bit more down the road. This is not immediate. But if we are going to see severe weather, this may be the zone in which it happens. So I think for spots along and north of the Tennessee River, we're probably going to have what we've got ongoing right now, which is just some rain, embedded thunderstorm activity, maybe some 30, 40-mile-per-hour wind gust, heavy rain, lightning, perhaps some small hail, but maybe nothing more extreme than that. So let me clear this off here. Again, our storm in Franklin County, that is certainly the one is the most significant and the one that we are keeping the closest watch on. Again, here is the latest look at it. Now, I will say, we'll see if this one can continue to hold together. It is still very, very strong. There is the possibility for seeing some high wind out of this, maybe on the order of 60 to 70 miles per hour, perhaps. National Weather Service did update their warning on this, indicating winds that could approach 70 miles per hour. And again, we're seeing the strongest of those winds coming through the Phil Campbell area right now. We'll be approaching Haleyville and areas off to the east. Now, this is going to be going into southern Lawrence County, south of Moulton. It's the Bankhead National Forest, very sparsely populated, so this is not going, if there's a positive, it's not going into a high population area. But if you do live here in southeast Franklin County and in through southern Lawrence County, you know, just go ahead and make sure you're inside, sturdy building, stay away from windows. Again, the possibility for some strong wind coming with this. Still not seeing a big concern as far as a tornado that may develop out of this, but certainly some strong wind and some hail. Again, this is the time of arrival for you folks in this area. Posey Mill by 526, Haleyville around 528. Again, going into the Bankhead National Forest, so the Black Warrior Wildlife Management Area, close to 6 o'clock. And then approaching Grayson as we work our way into parts of Coleman County, eventually headed in that direction with this storm. Right now moving through, basically crossing from Marion into Winston County, and this may eventually find its way into Coleman County before it's all said and done. Again, Moulton, I think this will probably stay a little south of you, at least the more intense part of this thunderstorm. You're still going to have some very heavy rainfall perhaps out of it as that extends back along 24 west towards Russellville. That'll be tracking in your direction. But as far as the core of this storm, where it's the most intense around Phil Campbell right now, that'll likely stay a little south of Moulton, primarily going across the Bankhead National Forest there in southern parts of Lawrence County. Let me get an update here on the hail. Hail core showing up still from near Phil Campbell down towards Bear Creek. And that's pretty well it. We are seeing maybe some small hail here in Limestone County with the one storm that has moved out of the Mooresville and Belmina area, so maybe a little bit of small hail. If you are in Madison County, or the city of Madison, down towards Triana, may pick up some small hail out of this one. Otherwise, up to quarter-size hail is a possibility here. Again, just outside of Phil Campbell now, near Bear Creek. Be pretty close to Haleyville as it continues there to track through northern parts of Winston County in northwest Alabama. Again, here is the wide view. Certainly this is the strongest storm in Franklin County. We will probably get an extension of the warning. I don't think it'll go as far north as Moulton. It might. They might draw it in there, but I think the core of this storm is probably going to stay south of Moulton. That's definitely the strong storm. Again, another one here in southeast Limestone County, non-severe, but that one's also producing quite a bit of lightning, and again, the possibility that that one may have some small hail associated with it, and perhaps some strong wind gust as well. So we are keeping an eye on it also. So let's kind of take a look at both these. We'll take you into Madison County, just show you kind of the latest here. Get a lot of rain, embedded thunderstorm activity with our strongest, most organized storm now moving into the city of Madison. So very heavy rainfall being detected here. Quick check of the wind. There's some, I would say, broad rotation showing up here. Just off of 565 towards Triana. And yes, the Weather Service just mentioned that. Area broad rotation. Currently sub-severe winds moving in from Limestone to Madison County. So we'll keep an eye on this, but as I've mentioned with some earlier information, rotating storms produce hail. So that's, I think, why we're seeing the hail signature out of this one, because there is a little bit of broad, weak rotation in this storm embedded within the larger area of rain. But there is nothing at the moment that is of concern in terms of tornado potential. We will keep an eye on this. This is going to go right over the airport. So we are likely to see what sort of wind this is producing shortly. Right now, the airport, as of 7 minutes ago, just reporting winds of 17 miles per hour. But as this storm kind of moves through, we're probably going to see a pickup of the wind, so we'll see just how strong those winds go with this storm as it moves. Basically right along the 565 corridor. So again, the worst of it is over Madison right now, stretching back towards Triana. This is going to continue to work its way basically along 565, likely towards downtown Huntsville. We'll track this out about an hour, just in case it sustains itself for that long. So this one coming through Madison right now. It is going to be working its way over Redstone Arsenal, U.S. Space and Rocket Center, Research Park Boulevard, up to almost Highway 72, University Drive, through downtown, and eventually through parts of South Huntsville, and then over Montesano, which is where we are located. So we'll see what happens when it reaches us. Into the Hampton Cove, Big Cove, Owens Crossroads area, and then if it continues to hold on from there, would make it toward Gurley. You see the time of arrival. Again, this is a non-severe storm, but it may be producing some winds above 40 miles per hour. It may also be producing some smaller hail under quarter size, the way it currently appears, along with very heavy rainfall and quite a bit of lightning. Moving over Redstone here in the next 5 minutes or so. Downtown Huntsville, this would be coming in almost, about 15 minutes from now, maybe a little bit sooner than that. Into the Hayden area around 5:59. Gurley, if it holds together, it's going to be a little after 6 o'clock before it reaches you there in that eastern part of Madison County. Again, this is not severe, but it is a strong storm, a potent one, producing quite a bit of lightning, some wind gusts that could exceed 40 miles per hour. And again, also the likelihood this is producing some small hail. There's your hail court, getting a little bit bigger. So the Weather Service might issue a severe thunderstorm warning on this one, as the core is getting just a little bit stronger. Let me take a look here. Not quite, I think, at the point for a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're not too far off. So again, just bear that in mind. That is some hail showing up in the storm right along 565 in the vicinity of the airport, south parts of Madison, areas near and north of Triana. Just taking a look at some other information here off screen. Weather Service has issued a special weather statement in regards to this storm. Let me pop it back up here. So they are mentioning wind gusts up to 50 and some pea-sized hail. Again, this is right over Huntsville International Airport right now, moving east around 25. So this is going to be moving again right along 565, probably extending from around downtown Huntsville and then southward into South Huntsville along the Parkway. Of course, it's going to go across the Arsenal first. So again, this storm tracking on through, we're keeping an eye on for you. Again, not necessarily severe, but definitely a strong thunderstorm that we've got going on here. This is the latest on the wind velocity. And again, some very broad rotation, not a concern right now, but we are keeping an eye on that for you. Again, more likely this is just producing some strong wind and the possibility of some smaller hail, pea-sized hail, nothing that looks huge at this point in time. But again, let's kind of track it, and then I'm going to get you an update on that storm in Franklin County. Again, this is moving, I think probably a little bit quicker. These may be moving around 30. They're staying 25, but let's track this at around 30 miles per hour. And again, we'll give you the time of arrival. Again, a couple of hazards with this. One's going to be some smaller hail, and the possibility for some winds 40 to 50 miles per hour. General motion off to the east, maybe slightly north of east. Again, downtown Huntsville, about 547. The Moontown Airport there along Highway 72, just outside of Gurley around 602. Gurley proper around 611. Again, downtown Huntsville, South Parkway. This will be coming across over Montesano. It'll be going over Green Mountain into the Hampton Cove, Big Cove area, impacting almost down to Owens Crossroads. Again, possibility for some hail and some winds that may be 40 to 50 miles per hour. Still checking the airport. I've not gotten an update here. Okay, this was at 5:25. The airport reported a wind gust of 28 miles per hour. So the wind has picked up there, and again, potentially it could be a little bit higher than that. So we've got this storm. Again, this is not severe, not a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for this one. But this is moving across parts of Huntsville. It is going to be packing a punch as it moves on through, so just be aware of that. All right, let's get you an update on our severe warned storm, the one that we do know is potentially producing severe weather, and that is back here in northwest Alabama. This warning goes until 5:45. It appears they're going to let the warning expire. National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement for this storm. Yes, canceled the severe thunderstorm warning. So yeah, you just saw that update. So this storm no longer severe, at least the northern extent of it. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that does continue for this part of the storm moving through Winston County, just outside of our coverage area. But let me get in here, check out a couple things. Hail cores decreased. Let's see, it was more significant back towards Phil Campbell, Hackleburg, so that's a good sign. Wind velocity here. There's still a little rotation with this. Green's toward the radar, red's away. A little bit of rotation showing up in the vicinity of Alabama 195 and where that intersects with 243. But nothing that's an immediate concern in terms of a tornado threat. So this storm is losing a little bit of its punch as it's moving into the Bankhead National Forest. But again, still a strong storm back in this direction, not what it once was. Again, here's the wide view. As far as where severe weather potential, I think is over and done with. I think we can say that pretty safely if you're out towards the shoals, down to Russellville. Still got plenty of rainfall out there, but I think the chances that you see anything in terms of a strong or severe thunderstorm moving back in at this point in time, if you're in that northwest corner of the state, you're probably going to be okay. That threat, though, for strong storms still will continue. Moulton through the Decatur, Huntsville area and points eastward for the time being, although at the moment for far north Alabama, it looks like we are warning free at this point in time. But again, if you're out towards the shoals, Florence, Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, down to Russellville, back to Red Bay, Cherokee, Waterloo, Wright area, I think you're going to be okay. There's still going to be a little rain for a little while longer, but I think I can safely say that you're done with any severe weather potential out there in much of, I would say, pretty well all of Lauderdale County, pretty well all of Colbert County, and we're just waiting for this strong thunderstorm to clear you in Franklin County. But definitely Colbert, Lauderdale County, I think we can give you not an all clear for rain, but an all clear for seeing any additional severe weather threats. So again, we got our storm there in Franklin County. We've got the storm in Madison County. Both of those, again, at this point appear to be sub-severe. But the one here in Madison County, absolutely, it's packing a punch. It is rolling through, producing a little bit of gusty wind. Again, the strongest I've seen at the airport. Okay, got another update. So 5:31, the airport reporting a gust of 43. So that fits well with the special weather statement on this, indicating wind gusts that could potentially be up to 50 miles per hour. So 43 mile per hour wind gusts reported at the airport, Huntsville International Airport with this storm. So that is what it is going to be capable of. So we'll say 40 to 50 mile per hour winds potentially with this one. Again, it is moving off to the east at around 25, 30 miles per hour. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be issued for this one, probably based on that gust at the airport, which is technically not a severe gust, but being the trend in that direction. There you see the warning drawn in. The core of this storm, the most potent part of it, again, passing through the city of Madison right now. It is going to be going through South Huntsville, so a little south of downtown, down South Parkway, and again, this will be headed over Green Mountain and Montesano into the Big Cove, Hampton Cove area, and eventually tracking towards Gurley in eastern Madison County. So this is where this is going. Again, here's your updated track on this. Weatherly Heights neighborhood around 552, Hampton Cove, schools there on the Eastern Bypass, Sutton Road, around 6 o'clock, Moontown Airport around 6:02, and into Gurley around 6:10. Couple hazards with this. We're looking at some strong wind. That could be 50 to 60 miles per hour. We are looking at a hail threat. There is still a hail core showing up here, maybe up to quarter size. Again, that's going right over the arsenal. But if you're in South Huntsville, still got a couple minutes if you want to get your car underneath the cover and into the garage, just in case this does produce something on the order of quarter size. Not seeing anything probably larger than that at this point, but certainly up to quarter size would be a possibility. And once you get hail up to quarters, there is that possibility that you'll get some dings in your vehicle, so just keep that in mind. Quick check of the wind velocity here. Again, nothing that's a huge concern in terms of strong rotation within this thunderstorm. So you saw some updates there. I think that's kind of the least of our concern. But let me take a look at our Decatur radar, which is going to give us a closer view of this one. And again, that's showing, again, a little broad rotation. Really what we're seeing more of anything is strong wind blowing out of this storm. We've got the latest sweep coming around. So this is going right over the Arsenal right now, East Desert Road. Again, there's a little rotation here in the vicinity of Martin Road on the Arsenal. Green's toward, red's away. And you really see here, this is some strong, what we call outbound wind. So as far as where the greatest wind is, that's potentially where it is, since our Decatur radar is pretty close to this, so we're seeing relatively close to the ground. So if there's some strong wind, again, that's going over the south end of the Arsenal right now. There's probably some 40-mile-per-hour wind elsewhere within the storm, but as far as where the potential for severe wind is, that's an indication of perhaps where it is. Again, this is our live radar out of Decatur, our 31 triple Doppler. I'm just going to keep a close watch here. This is going to be looking a little bit lower down into the storm. We're going to get a better view of what's happening close to the ground. Again, I don't see anything that's an immediate concern for me in terms of tornado potential out of this, but it is something we're going to watch. There's National Weather Service radar. Looks a little different because you're getting, number one, you're looking at it higher into the storm, and the radar is on the opposite side of the storm, so that's why the color's flipped. But it's showing the same thing, you know, little circulation here. Green is toward, the reds are away. And again, this is in the vicinity of Martin Road. There you see Martin Road going through the Arsenal. Just off of Zert Road, so this is entering the west side of the Arsenal right now. So just keeping an eye on it. Again, it's nothing that's a huge concern. It's nothing that, as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh, well, we got a problem here. I don't see that. But again, a little circulation. As I mentioned earlier, rotating storms produce hail, and your hail core kind of corresponding where that is. Again, moving into that west side of the Arsenal currently. Here's the normal view. You do see the little speck here of pink. Again, that could be where your largest hail is falling right now in this thunderstorm. So we are keeping an eye on that. And again, closely monitoring any rotation here. The thing we watch for when you're monitoring the wind velocity in the storm is it increasing? So We'll get an update. That's the Weather Service radar. Again, this is our live radar out at Decatur. And it doesn't really look a lot different than what I showed you a moment ago. So we're kind of maintaining the status quo, but not seeing an increase in low-level rotation in this storm. So that's always a positive sign. We're not exactly, and there's the latest update from the Weather Service, so that continues to look like less of a concern in terms of any sort of tornado potential. And that tornado threat overall does remain fairly low with these storms coming on through for most of the area. Again, the southern flank is where we're going to have to watch. These storms that you see here from near Haleyville that will be tracking towards Coleman, the atmosphere is a little bit more favorable. Although we are continuing to see the overall rain shield really expand with this, and that in and of itself tends to limit the overall severe weather potential. Doesn't mean that you can't get severe weather within some of these embedded thunderstorms. It's just a little bit harder because those storms are removed from the more juicy air, the more undisturbed part of the atmosphere. Again, they can produce severe weather, but it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm still kind of expecting that this is the way it's going to play out. We've got this larger area of rain that's going to continue to move on through. Embedded within it, there are going to be some thunderstorms. Some of these could get a little strong. For most of us, it's just going to be heavy rain. It's going to be lightning. It's going to be some winds, 30, 40 miles per hour. That's as bad as it's going to get. In a few instances, some of these storms may briefly be able to organize to the point that they can produce some stronger wind and some larger hail. So maybe some hail up to quarter size, and again, some winds that could be 50, 60 miles per hour. I think that's going to be pretty isolated circumstances that we're going to find any of these storms in, but certainly within the realm of possibility. If you are watching over here towards Sand Mountain, all this is building in your direction. So we do have rain. We got some thunder moving in across parts of Jackson, Marshall, even into DeKalb County right now. Primarily what we're going to be watching are these heavier storms, the one back in Madison County, and the other activity that we have in parts of Lawrence County as well that will be continued to build on off to the east, and it just remains to be seen what these end up doing. A reminder, if it will pop up, we had some problems earlier. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Severe thunderstorm watch goes until 10 o'clock tonight. It does include all of North Alabama. I don't know why it's not filling in on our graphic here. These are the threats that we're primarily looking at, and I'll bring these up for you. Gusty wind is the main threat, 40, 60 mile per hour wind. Large hail, perhaps up to quarter size. That's going to be a possibility. Tornado threat's pretty low. We're not really set up for that. There's not a ton of low-level spin in the atmosphere for storms to tap into, so that really limits the tornado potential. There's just enough wind shear for, again, some of these storms to rotate, and as I've been talking about, that increases the chances for picking up some hail. So that's not unusual to see a rotating storm. We just don't have all of the rotation components that would be necessary really for a more significant tornado threat. Let's kind of run you through the forecast here. By the way, that severe thunderstorm warning for Madison into parts of Jackson and even Marshall County, a little bit Marshall County is included. That goes until 6:45. So we've got a good hour on that warning. Will the storm sustain itself and be severe for an hour? Probably not. And, you know, we'll let you know if the warning is canceled, but for now, that warning does go for an hour. Here's the latest with future radar. Let's kind of run you through this. Doing an overall decent job picking up on the leading edge of rainfall, a little off on the details on individual strong thunderstorms, but you get the general idea. And we'll put this into motion. By 7 o'clock this evening, the leading edge of rain and some initial storm activity looks like it is going to be basically through Sand Mountain. But within this, there will be some stronger storms, some heavier elements that will continue to roll on through. That may persist through 8 or so tonight. I think there's a good chance, certainly by 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier, I think we'll be will be free of any strong storm activity, basically from Huntsville back to the west. That possibility may still exist in Sand Mountain at 8 o'clock this evening, but then likely kind of winding down from there. The new update here does show the stronger storms through the late evening hours are likely going to be just to our south, down Coleman to the Birmingham area. Not much else through the late evening hours. We'll likely pick up a few more showers and storms late tonight, early Tuesday morning. We're not expecting severe weather for tomorrow, so these would not pose a severe threat. And then your Tuesday afternoon, I think will turn out to be pretty decent weather-wise. Some sunshine peeking through, and tomorrow's going to be a warm day as well. And then we're going to turn our attention to another system that'll be coming in for Wednesday, and that will bring with it, late on Wednesday, another threat for strong storms and the possibility of seeing some severe weather rolling through with it. All right, let's bring you back up here. 31 triple Doppler. We have one severe thunderstorm warning right now for North Alabama. This does include parts of Huntsville, extreme northern Marshall County, and areas in Jackson County over to Scottsboro. Let us put a track on this for you. Again, the heaviest part of this storm is now pushing through parts of South Huntsville. Looks like a little less lightning with it. So that may be a sign that this is not quite as strong, but I'll get you in with the radar details here in just a second. I'll mostly track this to the east. Might deviate a little north or a little south from this, but this is kind of where the core of this storm, the middle of it, the most intense part of it's going to be tracking here short term. Again, across South Huntsville as we speak. So if you got someone coming home, they travel the Parkway from downtown, it's probably a little bit of a slow go there, to say the least, with the heavy rain really starting to settle in over the South Parkway area. Owens Crossroads by 6:04, approximately 6 o'clock. This is going to be going over Montesano, Green Mountain, into the Hampton Cove, Big Cove area. Gurley still looks like about a quarter after 6. Woodville around 6:24. Scottsboro, if you're watching from there, 6:50 is when this storm will arrive, at least the main part of it. All right, let's get you back in here with some details. We'll take a look at the hail tracker first. There's still a hail core. This is now coming off the arsenal. There's Martin Road, Patton Road, so this is coming across the Parkway right now. The Hazeland Road, if you know folks that live there, west of Sam's, west of the Lowe's and the Home Depot there, in the Hazeland Park area, kind of a new development in southwest Huntsville. Some hail showing up there. I've actually got a friend that lives there. Maybe he'll text me if he gets some hail, because I'd be curious to know if we have that. And again, that's your hail core, so this is going right through the Weatherly Heights area. It's going to be going across Weatherly Road, Bailey Cove, over Green Mountain, probably passing a little south of Cecil Ashburn, and pretty close there to Green Mountain Road, going up Green Mountain. And then this is going to be coming over again, kind of track this, if you're familiar with this area. So over Green Mountain, it is going to be going Old Big Cove Road, Taylor Road area, south of Sutton Road. So if you live in that part of the Owens Crossroads, Hampton Cove, Big Cove area, whatever you want to call it, that is where it is going to be tracking on through, if you're familiar with that. Probably the hail core close and south of where the Walmart is there on Sutton Road. So that is where it is going. Again, there's your normal look that we show you. This is reflectivity, very heavy rainfall right over the Parkway, good bit of thunder and lightning out of this. I think the lightning has maybe decreased a little bit with the storm, but still packing a pretty good punch here. Quick look at the wind velocity. There's no rotation really showing up. of any significance. But there is some wind potential with this. I'm taking another perspective here. I know this says rotation, but this is basically a wind shear product, so it can indicate a couple things. It can indicate where there is rotation occurring, but also where there is just some strong wind. So I think this is probably just some stronger wind coming through. Again, South Parkway area, Green Cove Road, Hobbs Road, and that will be going over Green Mountain. Again, moving into the Owens Crossroads area along Old Big Cove Road there as that continues southward. So this, again, I know it's labeled rotation, but I don't want you to get hung up on that. This is likely just some strong wind that could potentially be 40, 50 miles per hour, perhaps a little bit stronger than that. And you can kind of see here, we look at, of course, the raw data, and we look at the shape of storms. That often gives us some indication as to what's happening, and I will kind of draw in the shape here, and you see this kind of bowed out a little bit. Storms often get that shape because of strong wind. So again, I think we're seeing that over parts of far south Huntsville. Again, maybe some wind in excess of 40 or 50 miles per hour. That is going to be going over Green Mountain. You see some of the roads here. I'll focus in a little closer. Clear off my illustration. But if you're familiar with this area, you see Camelot. There's a neighborhood over here in this part of southeast Huntsville where all the names are reminiscent of King Arthur and all of that. So we've got Camelot here, and of course this is where Green Mountain Road starts and goes up that south end of Green Mountain. So this is again where some strong wind appears to be tracking through right now. And there is also the possibility for some hail. I think that's more likely to go through, again, the Hazeland area, Hazeland Farms area there in southeast Huntsville. That will likely be tracking towards Willowbrook and also going over the mountain towards parts of Old Big Cove and Taylor Road there in the Owens Crossroads, Big Cove, Hampton Cove area. So again, this is our only severe warned storm right now. So this is certainly the one that's packing a punch. So again, for you folks towards Owens Crossroads, Hampton Cove area, you are next in line for this. We'll see what the mountain does, how that interacts with this storm as it comes on through. And again, this one's tracking in the vicinity of Gurley, the Paint Rock, Woodville area, there along Highway 72 in southwest Jackson County, and eventually this will make its way towards Scottsboro. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, possibility for some strong wind and some hail that may be up to quarter size as it continues to this area. Looks like a report of small hail on South Parkway, so we are getting some verification of that. And as we do stream here on the social media side of things, let me check some of the comments. I've not done that. And sometimes y'all that are watching do provide me with some good information. So let me take a quick look at that now as we continue to track this strong to potentially severe storm moving through parts of the greater Huntsville area. We are live streaming on Facebook. I'm on my meteorologist Jeff Castle Facebook page, also on Amber and Laney's pages. I've taken over those with the live stream, and we're also on the WAAY 31 Facebook page. Let me just get a look here. Just checking some of the comments. Let's see what questions I can answer. There's a lot of people checking in. Susan indicated this was about half an hour ago, rocking and rolling in Madison off Nick Davis. Yeah, so that was where it was earlier. So I'll try to get, I'll do another radar update for you across the entire area. But again, just doing a quick check here on what we've got on social media. If you're not aware, WAAY 31 has a YouTube channel. Got quite a few subscribers on there. And when we are live on social media, we're live on YouTube. And it doesn't look like we have any comments there that need to be addressed. All righty, so let's kind of show you what we've got going on with the big picture here. I'll expand the view. And I'll get my mug off of here and bring everything back up full screen. So this is the big view with 31 triple Doppler. We do have a large area of rain with embedded thunderstorm activity. And within this, some of these storms are packing a punch. Had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, one earlier that included Franklin County in northwest Alabama. Our lone severe thunderstorm warning ongoing right now does include parts of Madison, extreme northern Marshall County, basically well north of Guntersville, and includes parts of southwestern Jackson County. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 5:45. If you are out towards Muscle Shoals, Florence, down to Russellville, severe weather threat's over for you. You still have rain. That's pretty well it. I think Athens, you're probably good to go. There's still a strong storm back in between Decatur and Moulton. So areas of Morgan County, areas down into Coleman County, and basically we'll say 565 to 65 and points eastward. Still the threat that we may get some stronger storm activity. So I'll kind of circle here what's left. So if you're in the area that I've circled, this is where we may yet still see some strong storms, and perhaps one or two of these do get severe thunderstorm warnings issued on them. Otherwise, we are kind of battling the fact that we've got this large area of rain. So it's not like we have individual storms moving through that have an undisturbed atmosphere that they can tap into, draw some of that energy, and really get organized. We just don't have that. We've got embedded stronger thunderstorms at times that may temporarily pose a severe weather threat. So the area that is circled, that is still a possibility, probably for another couple hours before we will clear this corner of North Alabama. But elsewhere, I think we're going to be good to go, just kind of waiting on rain to taper off with time. Looks like a report of some dime-sized hail south Huntsville. Our storms back here, Morgan County, eastern Lawrence County, northern Coleman County. None of these are severe, not particularly well organized. But they are producing some heavy rain, some occasional lightning, maybe some small hail, and perhaps some 30, 40 mile per hour winds. But again, these are not severe. Not really seeing any significant hail potential showing up. Again, we do still have a hail core here. Again, moving over Green Mountain. And coming down Green Mountain on the Owens Crossroads side. Weather Service indicating the storm is weakening a bit as it's going over Green Mountain. And they are possibly considering maybe canceling the warning early. As I said, an hour long for a warning in this sort of setup. It's maybe a little bit too long, so it's possible they may cancel this one a little early, it appears. It was set to go until 6:45. For now, it's still in effect, but they are looking at, again, maybe the possibility that it no longer poses a severe threat. I'm checking some other information here. So it appears to be not quite as organized. The warning does continue, though, until 6:45, but maybe not quite as much of a threat. Still seeing indications of hail, although that has shrunk a little bit. So again, I think this is why they're contemplating whether they should cancel the warning. So there was the hail about 5:45, moving into South Huntsville. Again, a report of some up to dime sized hail reported in areas of South Huntsville. That, though, is not considered severe hail. Quarter size is severe hail, so that is just below that. But again, that was 5:45, and there you see the hail core has diminished as it did push into the Owens Crossroads area, Hampton Cove area. So that is an indication of some weakening. Again, we're not concerned. There's no rotation of any concern here out of this storm. There was a little bit earlier. There was some stronger wind. So again, this was back at about 5:45. Just want to highlight some things that we were monitoring on radar. You see that little area pink there. That's an indication of some stronger wind being picked up in the storm, but that has largely faded. Still, it was there, going past the parkway, but notice now we've kind of lost some of that pink color. So an indication that the wind potential decreasing in this, at least the potential for severe wind, which would be winds upward of 60 miles per hour. 58 miles per hour or stronger, to be specific. So that appears to be the case. So we'll see if they cancel this warning earlier, because it's still got another 40 minutes to go. And actually, it looks like they did, because it is no longer showing up. So it looks like they've canceled the severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, they just canceled it. So this is still a strong storm, moving through southeast Madison County. Still quite a bit of lightning with it, but losing a little bit of its punch as it went up and over Green Mountain. It is still headed eastward, though. So this is when it will be arriving. It may continue to wind down, that's a possibility, but at least short term, Paint Rock about the next 10 minutes, Woodville around 6:23, and Scottsboro coming in around 6:50. So we are warning free at the moment across North Alabama. Again, there's the bigger picture. Got an update here on the severe thunderstorm watch, so let me take a quick look at that. Storm Prediction Center describes it as a loosely organized convective complex. So they do note a few embedded stronger cells will bring the main threat for some limited severe weather potential. They indicate the clusters remain loosely organized, little intensification trend with a few storms. Let's see. Short term, still some severe potential for damaging wind, hail, maybe a brief tornado. Yeah, so they're not really saying anything too different. So all I can say at this point, limited severe weather activity out of this. Report of a 43-mile-per-hour wind gust at Huntsville International Airport. Report of some dime-sized hail. And that's pretty well been it. I think our strongest storm that we've seen thus far here in North Alabama today, that was one in Franklin County that did move through the Phil Campbell area a little bit earlier. That one had the biggest hail core, and I think probably had some of the strongest winds associated with it. One in Madison County, yes, it did pack a bit of a punch. It's losing some of its intensity at this point in time. But at the moment, nothing to me that looks like an immediate severe threat. Strongest storm that we do have ongoing, though, is in southeast Madison County. It is moving through the Owens Crossroads area, approaching Gurley. We'll be moving into southwestern Jackson County, again, the vicinity of Paint Rock in the Woodville area, and may hold on to reach Scottsboro. Okay, let me take a quick look here at some of the comments, social media. Otherwise, I may wrap this up here for the time being. But let me just get one last look here. Let's see. I'll kind of run through, again, how things are, how I'm expecting things to play out for the rest of this evening. Quick look at my Facebook page. And yeah, just a few questions about different areas. So let's kind of sort that out for you again. Pull the radar back up full screen. The areas where we still could have perhaps some isolated severe weather. I think in general is going to be kind of, okay, I didn't mean to do that. Let me back up. It's going to be this area, Jackson County, southeast Madison County, basically along and east to I-65. And we'll say east of I-65, south of US 72 from Huntsville to the Tennessee border. In this area I've got circled, there's still the possibility we may get some isolated strong or severe thunderstorm activity. The thing that we're battling now is that there is very much widespread rain, and that sometimes makes it a little bit more difficult for storms to get sufficiently organized to bring a severe weather threat. But with that said, still could be some stronger storms that develop in this corridor across parts of Morgan, Marshall, Jackson, DeKalb County, may pose a threat for some strong wind gusts that could be upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour, could bring up to quarter-size hail. Tornado threat, I think, is still going to stay extremely limited. Severe thunderstorm watch does remain in effect until 10 o'clock tonight, although there's a good chance Weather Service may start dropping some counties out of this, because I really think, say if you're out in the shoals in northwest Alabama, I don't think there's really any chance that you're going to get any more potential for severe weather. So we can safely say, I think Lawrence, Colbert, Franklin County, Lawrence County, if the Weather Service starts trimming the severe thunderstorm watch, you may be dropped from it. Probably will hold on to parts of Morgan, Madison County, and points eastward a little bit longer. But again, that's just kind of what we're watching right now. Limited severe weather threat. Again, we've got a large area of rain, embedded thunderstorms. Some of those storms have been a little strong at times, and there is some potential for some isolated severe weather. But we're not expecting this to be a huge deal. We never actually were. And the tornado threat remains extremely low. You know, I never say never, and I'm not going to do that this time as well, but that's just something that's not at the top of my mind right now, that's going to be a concern. So with that, I'm going to leave you with radar. We're continuing to watch things on the TV side of things. Any sort of alerts will be passed along on the screen. If you have the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, you can look at our radar, 31 triple Doppler. You can track the storms. If any alerts are issued for your area, you can set the app up to send you those push alerts on your phone. But again, for now, severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight for everyone in North Alabama, although I think some of you could be cleared from it at this point. And at the moment, there are no severe storms moving through. There are no active warnings, just some embedded heavier thunderstorms moving on through. So with that, we're going to wrap things up here for now. Obviously, if we start to get a little bit more active again and we do see a flare-up in the storm activity where we start getting some more warnings, I'll jump back on here and do some more live updates. But again, for now, we're just kind of monitoring, watching. Want you to do the same as well. And just because we're not live on here for the time being doesn't mean that we are not constantly watching what's going on. So with that said, hope you have a great rest of your evening. A lot of this is going to wrap up, I think, within the next couple of hours across the area. It'll still be raining for maybe a little bit beyond the time the stronger storms come through. But in general, we're not expecting an active night where you're going to be kept awake by the threat of severe weather. So that should be winding itself down here for all of North Alabama within the next couple of hours. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and again, we will keep you updated as necessary.